Today we're going to step outside the kitchen. We're going to go into a classroom and I'm going to open up a PowerPoint. No! Yes, you must learn. Today I'm going to break it down about Korean soy sauce. I know there's a lot of people who are starting to cook Korean with us, and the first thing you want to buy is of course soy sauce because that is the most used ingredient. So if you're going to eat a lot of it, you want to buy a high quality soy sauce. Thus, we must understand what drives quality. So take a seat. Don't heckle the new professor, all right? He's trying to get tenured, and let's start. Walk into any Korean grocery mart and you're gonna just see rows and rows of different types of soy sauce. So in the beginning, you might be a little bit confused, maybe get some decision fatigue like me, but don't cry. Let's break it down. Let's start off with the helicopter view. So in Korean cooking, we use two types. The first one is Korean soy sauce, also known as kanjang, and we usually are going to use this one. This one's probably 95% from stir fries, marinades, Korean barbecue, and everything above. The second one is soup soy sauce, guk ganjang, and we generally use that for soups and stews, and namul banchan, which are the wild veggie banchans. Let's start off with a deep dive into the first category. So with regular Korean soy sauce, we can group it into three different types. The first one is Yangjo Ganjang. This one has the highest quality, and it's because it's 100% naturally brewed. They take soybeans, boil it, then mash it up, then add wheat or rice flour and mold or yeast, and you let it ferment for about 6 months. During those 6 months, you're going to see this dark liquid fall out, or more like drip out, of the soybean mixture, and that's what we call soy sauce. And typically the companies will then boil that, make sure that it's clean, and at no point is there any additives or preservatives added. That's why it's 100% natural. We'll skip over the second one really quickly. The third one is chemical 간장. In Korean, it's called 3분의 간장. And this soy sauce is made using hydrochloric acid. They use that to extract amino acids from the soybeans. Then they add other additives to improve the flavor. And they usually finish this process in 3 days. This is the lowest quality and of course the cheapest one. And you generally don't find this at Korean supermarkets. There's no demand for it because, of course, people don't want chemically processed food. But where you do find it is like fast food Asian restaurants. You know when they give the soy sauce packets? Yeah, no need to treasure that so much. And the second one is 혼합 간장. Basically means blended. It's a mix of the 100% naturally brewed and the chemically processed. Now, there's a lot of these blended 간장 or soy sauces on the shelves at supermarkets or even on Amazon. But the funny thing is, the two major brands, Sempyo and Cheongjeongwon, they don't call it 혼합 간장, right? Sometimes they call it 진간장, sometimes they call it 양조 간장, which was category number 1's name. So it gets very, very confusing. So Daniel, what to do? I don't want to be a victim to marketing. The best way is to look at the label. So there's a little section. In Korean, it's called 식품의 유형. That translates to product type. And that will give you the answer. This one, for example, says 양조 간장. It's category number 1. It's 100% naturally brewed. And now, of course, if you can't read Korean, you're going to have to play a little bit of Pictionary combined with Where's Waldo. But 99% of the time, if you flip the bottle to the back, you're going to see an ingredients list, and it should be listed there in the first or second row. Okay? And numero dos. Let's look at a second example. And here, if we look at the product type, it says 혼합 간장. It's blended. And for all blended soy sauce, you're going to see the ratio as well. It's required. It's generally on the next line. And here, for example, it's 30% naturally brewed and 70% chemically processed. Professor, I have a question. Say that I have 3 Yangjo ganjangs because, you know, I want to go 100% natural. Duh. How do I distinguish what product is the best if they're all the same type? Weird tone, but great question. To answer that question, we got to talk about total nitrogen. So as soybeans ferment, they release protein in the form of nitrogen. So the more nitrogen a soy sauce has, the better quality it is. It's going to have a deeper flavor, more umami. So where do I find this TN value? It's actually listed on the product itself. Now note, some companies don't want to show that TN number, probably because it's low for some of their products. And disclaimer number 2, some products that go overseas that have all the ingredients labeled in English, they also took the TN value off too. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. So let's go to the market and I'll show you a few. 이거 있잖아. 이거 F3. 이거 1.3. So 501. So for some guys, the TN value is not shown. Why? If it's high, don't you think they would highlight it? Exactly. So if you come here, it says TN, right? It's TN, and then it says 1.2%. It's on the lower end, that's why. So with TN value, what's the range? What's high and what's low? Well, typically we start from 1% to 1.8%. Anything that's below 1%, it doesn't even come out on the markets. So they usually call 1% the average. Then anything above 1.3 is considered premium, and then anything above 1.5 is super premium. Now, even though it shows 1.8% as the high in the range, I've never seen a commercially available soy sauce that's at 1.8%. Korea's highest quality soy sauce is Sempyo's Yangjo Ganjang 701. That's at a 1.7%. Because it's high quality, it doesn't mean that it's the best tasting soy sauce for you. Matter of fact, a lot of home cooks will use the super premium for certain types of dishes and the premium for another types of dishes. For me personally, I love those 1.5%, those two that are listed there. Those are my go-to sauces. It's Sempyo's 501 and Shinanchong 생명물 간장. And I'll reserve that 1.7% one, that's Sempyo's 701 soy sauce, for raw dishes, maybe a dip for sushi or sashimi, or as a base for salads. Yes, John, I see your hand. If you want to go use the restroom, please do so now. We'll take a quick break.
Daniel, we need to get a new cup. You always drink in the rice bowl. Look how cute this is.
So like what, panchans?
You think this is better? Daniel, I think it's time to replace our spatula.
Oh, I like this one.
Ours is broken.
All right. And now, if we take a helicopter view again, we talked about Korean soy sauce, and the other major category was what? Soup soy sauce. This in Korean is called 국간장. That's the most common name. It's also called by some older people 조선 간장. 조선, from Joseon Dynasty was the way of calling Korea back in the old days. And then it's also called 한식 간장. That just translates to Korean food soy sauce. Now, the big question that everyone asks is, do I really need soup soy sauce? What's the purpose of it? I mean, why can't there just be one? Well, typically most Korean soups or stews, they have a very clear broth. And Koreans don't like to turn that broth too dark. It looks off. And this is where Korean soup soy sauce comes in handy. Let me show you. Let's fill up this left one with a tablespoon of regular Korean soy sauce. And do 1 tablespoon in, and just dump it in. And then we'll do 1 tablespoon of soup soy sauce in. I'm gonna mix both of these up just a slight bit. Now it's a bit hard to tell from the top, partially because of the lights in this room. But if you look from the bottom, this is the regular soy sauce, and then this is soup soy sauce. This one looks like tea, right? It's a much lighter in color. And then number 2, of course, is the taste. So soy sauce, this one, yeah, salty, earthy, umami. And then the soup soy sauce, if you just take a taste, much more saltier. So let's imagine we have a big pot of galbitang, like short rib soup, which is really good. If you season with the regular Korean sauce, since it's not as salty, you're gonna need more to get the same equivalent of soup soy sauce. And then the broth is gonna change colors. Oh my, our galbitang has turned into applesauce already. And similar to the regular Korean soy sauce, to assess the quality, we're gonna do 2 steps. Number 1, check the type in the back of the label, and then number 2, check the TN value. In this case, I'll probably skip the second one and choose between the Yangjo Ganjang, the 100% naturally brewed, either number 1 or number 3. Strangely, Cheongjeongwan, which is one of the major soy sauce producers, they don't like to show TN value. But I might lean towards number 1 because I've been using it for the last decade, so I'm familiar with it. But if I feel a little bit lucky, I'll do number 3 too. Again, this is just my thought process and how I evaluate what quality is. Doesn't mean I'm pushing for these products. And that's a wrap. Thank you for sitting through my first lecture. 감사합니다. And how did you like this mini lecture? Do you guys want to go more in depth on subjects like this? Let me know in the comments. And one last thing, big announcement. Gochujang is launching next week. We've worked 1 year on this and it's finally opening. We're set to open. We're going to be selling Korea's best-selling and artisanal food products. Come get it. I'm excited to serve you, and let's Yeah.